fucking matter with us, honestly. Alright, we're live. Fuck, that's not the page I wanted to go to.
Worst fucking intro.
Alright, I don't give a shit.
This is
I'll cut this shit out in the actual audio version of it. The video, they can see the ridiculousness.
For anyone watching, Shaune mad.
Shaune's so mad.
Shaune's so mad.
What was he mad about? I don't even remember.
It's about to be Shaune choke.
Shaune is mentally regressing into a caveman.
See, niggas like you prevent peace.
This is why everybody thinks bad stuff about black people.
Oh shit. Oh fuck, that confused the fuck out of me. I had the YouTube page open for it too. I was like, why do I hear myself talking out of sync with what I'm saying right now? It's like I don't remember saying that. Alright, so this is Pontification, which is basically Shaune, Josh, and I of the Broken Chord Podcast talking about the intricacies of life and other philosophical bullshit, or however it goes. What are we gonna go with, the emotion shit, or do you guys want to go with being human? Like, what sounds better to you guys?
To be honest with you,
What's up?
kind of feed into each other to a little bit, to an extent.
Yeah, definitely, actually. Well, that's assuming that you believe emotions are something that make you like people, actual people. So.
Part of me does.
Thank you for the addition, Josh. I'm glad you're here today.
We'll play it. Let's go into it. Elaborate on that.
Yeah, let's. What part of you believes that and why, Josh?
Well, I did have an incident where I did, like, I guess more or less lose all my emotions. And I remember particularly I did not feel human anymore. At that point, anyone could have controlled me. I felt more robotic than I did like an actual person. Like things, cause you like when you can't feel anymore, that human experience that you have, if we want to define that, just disappears. When you can't feel anymore, you more or less just exist, no different than your computer does right now.
Do you believe that you can genuinely not feel, or if it's you convincing yourself that you cannot feel?
I think you could genuinely not feel.
Okay.
I think there is a point where you can numb yourself, I guess you could say.
But again, like, even when numbing yourself, like there's this medical sort of theory, I guess you could say, that there's no such thing as pain actually leaving you. You just become used to the pain. Like, so physically, if you're hurt, when you're not hurt anymore, the pain never went away. You just got used to it and stopped feeling it, but it still exists. And it just compounds up onto you. It's just constantly you getting used to something and forgetting it, essentially.
So you think that was the same emotion?
Well, I'm wondering if that's the same sort of thing. Like, you're saying you become numb to emotion. That doesn't mean you're not feeling it. It means that you're just not paying attention to it, kind of. Like your body just got used to it, in a sense, but emotion, obviously, not your body. But that's what I've always thought.
Like, you're not necessarily losing it, you're suppressing it.
Yeah, basically. Like, it's always still there. Like, I don't think anyone is capable of genuinely not having the emotion. They're just capable of almost being apathetic to it to such an extent that maybe to them it no longer exists. It's more you're just not paying attention to it.
But I don't think that negates what Josh is saying, though. I think if you are suppressing it, or if you feel the need to suppress it, I think that kind of takes away what makes you like an actual.
Oh, no. I was not disagreeing with that at all. I was defining the reasoning behind it, basically. I completely agree with that. So, yeah, like, realistically, reactions and stuff like that are a very big thing of being a person, and emotions, for the most part, tend to be reactionary.
To an extent. To an extent. I mean, like, it doesn't have to, like, I don't know. I don't think it has to be necessarily visible, but I do think you have to allow yourself to feel, or, like, you kind of become, like, you know, what Josh was describing. This, like, I don't know, autonomous. Like, you're not fully there. You're just kind of existing. You're not really living. You're not really being anything.
Yeah.
But it also begs the question of, is that the type of person who is less human than us, or is us feeling the emotions less human than them? Which one is the real thing?
Well, this is the thing, right? Isn't being human just a social construct?
Man, you looked right in the camera as you asked that. That was creepy. You've been staring at your screen this whole thing. As soon as you asked that, right in my goddamn eyes.
But so what do you mean by that, though? Like, social construct as far as like, the way we define it?
Well, you could just look at it in terms of, like, morality.
We call ourselves, oh, you're human, you're this, you're that. It's already implying that somehow we're more than animal, and somehow we're different, and I really honestly think the only thing that separates us from animals is nothing besides the power of the brain. We know, and I think that's only because we had to adapt to survive. Just like how the mantis shrimp has the fastest punch on the planet, had to adapt to survive. It's just what us. It happens to be our brain that's allowed us to survive.
Here comes. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I honestly, personally, when people say, oh, you're not human or this and that, you notice what they always revert to. Oh, you're like an animal. They act as if
or a robot.
They act as if we're superior to animals, and to me, we're not. We are the same. And I don't use animal as an insulting way, because there's like, animals have developed systems that, for more or less, are far more peaceful than we've ever achieved. So no, I don't even think the term being called an animal is an insult.
I'd much rather be called an animal than a human. Humans are shitheads.
all right, you bunch of Mitch Hedbergs over here. I did not realize there was a second part to the question. The problem with that, though, is that I think usually animals are more instinct. And I think, like, a lot of times we as humans, I think even the point of us being able to sit here and question how much more or less animalistic that we are kind of makes us, it does make us different. It does make us, well, what?
Well, we are different. Like, every type of animal is different.
Yeah, how do we know that animals don't question such things?
I mean,
oh no, I've got a cat, and I look in his eyes, and there's fucking nothing in that dumbass's eyes. There's nothing in that fucking cat.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I guess it's always going to be like, how do you not know? But, like, I don't know, man. Like, again, people own cats and dogs and shit. I never see them powwow with each other going, like, you know, what's up with these human fucks? Like, why don't they just let us go?
Well, they could be doing that realistically.
Well, yeah, there could
Dr.
be
Doolittle, motherfucker.
I just want to say there may be a slave rebellion because you guys are keeping animals like slaves. You're all slave owners.
You guys.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I ain't no slave. I ain't getting
Yow. You.
Hey, guys.
There's only one slave owner here. It's the white guy.
I got a black cat too, motherfucker. That bitch loves me.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard because, like, to an extent, I do think we are on a higher, like, we are on the upper of the hierarchy. But at the same time, I mean, like, you know, that's not going to be something I justify to beat animals, right? I think people get a little afraid to say that we may be a little bit more superior to an extent because it makes us feel like we can do anything to all the other creatures.
Well, I would say evolutionarily speaking, we are superior, but it doesn't make us as creatures themselves. I don't put us above them.
the point, like, I don't know.
With our technology.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
evolved to make our own shit to do it, so we wouldn't have to rely on instinct.
Yeah, because it's like, we'll just make more shit. Like,
Yeah.
we have so much shit to destroy shit that, like, we don't know what to do with all the stuff that we have that we can use to destroy. That's
We're
how
very
awesome-
much like space. We are very destructive, but we also are constantly making equal amount of shit.
So is that what it is to be human? A living paradox.
Yes, actually. And I've been thinking of that. I almost want to say consciousness is the ability to, like, it's like a paradox of the brain, where you clash with two different things in your mind, and then it suddenly goes like, fuck, well, what am I? What is this? What's that? Stuff. Holy shit. Why should I be asking, what is this? Why am I asking, what is this? What is this? Why am I asking, why am I asking? Like,
So,
you know what I'm saying?
as humans, we are 6-year-olds in the backseat of a car going to Disneyland.
To an extent, I mean, but, like, to an extent, like, I mean, we're sitting here boiling down the universe into, like, all these different, like, you know, whatever. I don't think anything else. Like, at
Dolphins
least
get high.
Well, what concerns me with that response, not Josh's. What concerns me
No,
with yours
I'm not even playing.
is just, it's more of the issue of we just genuinely don't know. That's what's difficult about that sort of, even our question right now, what makes human, obviously it's not something that we can know,
Right.
but we know so little about ourselves that, like, I would say we know even less about, like, animals.
You know
Like,
what's
we
funny?
know-
Oh,
what's up?
sorry.
No,
Sorry.
you go.
Sorry, I
Okay.
didn't know. The most communication doesn't even happen with the tongue on the planet. On the planet, the most known communication is actually bioluminescence.
All the goddamn sea creatures.
Hey,
Yeah,
we heard that
fireflies
last
and
time,
shit.
man.
There's more creatures in the sea than there is on the surface of the planet. We're literally the bottom. We are bottom dwellers compared to the creatures of the sea.
There are more bacteria
Yeah,
in
that's
1 square inch of our lower intestines than there are people that have ever existed.
Yep. Life.
That's why everyone puts it like we are just hosts for bacteria. That's
And-
all human. That's what makes us human. We are hosts for bacteria.
And-
Oh wait, no, animals get that too. Ours is
Yeah, I was
different.
gonna say
Fuck them.
that's like a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Everything
Valid point.
is host
Valid
for bacteria.
You know what? Fuck it. Dogs are human too. I win this round.
No, but dolphins get high.
So, fucking
They-
koalas. That's all they
literally
are.
get
Are
on
high.
pufferfish. They get high on pufferfish.
Eucalyptus makes koalas high, and that's all they eat. They're just high all the fucking time. It's not unusual. There are tons of fucking species of animals that have gay sex all the time and gay relationships, and we can't even handle this shit as humans. Like,
And we think we're superior to animals.
Well, that's the point,
Yeah,
though. Like, it depends on how
Hey,
you're thinking of superior.
for all you know, all these faggots are wrong. I mean, come on. Shit. Maybe animals got that shit wrong too. Fuck.
Oh man.
Well, that shut that shit down. So let's.
All I'm saying is, like, even cats and dogs are saying, like, these bitches are too much to handle. We're just gonna fuck other dudes. Is that the most
fuck other dudes? What?
homophobic thing that I could have said?
You know what though? There was what it is to be human. Do you guys think we're just plant food?
We're just plant food.
Yeah.
Those are the.
No.
That's like plants are the laziest predators. Then like,
We're too
just gonna wait-
parasitic.
Oh, okay. We want to say that, but then again, we're sitting here the ones that spread their seeds everywhere.
Well, it's not just us.
We don't need to talk about your personal life here, Josh. Jesus.
I mean, like, it's not just us.
Yeah, hummingbirds and shit. Bees. Like,
Yeah. So would you guys think the animals on the surface of the planet were just plant food? Because in the end, after they spread all the seeds, the plants take them back.
Yeah,
you could say that, but I don't think it's an existence meaning. I think it's more just coincidence.
That'd be pretty
It just
cool.
happens to be that.
I'm pretty sure the rainforest disagrees with you. We just, like we said, like, this is like a whole bunch of fucking trees. Let's cut this shit down and make paper. so we can write shit. Maybe even being a human is just being arrogant.
Let's cut down this tree so we can write a book about how bad it is to cut down trees.
Or how awesome it is. Fuck trees. What are they gonna do?
Fuck your couch.
Fucking trees.
True. But yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by superior. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, as far as, like, yeah, I think mental cognition we may be superior, but, like, you know, lions and tigers aren't going like, ooh, should I skip on this deer or antelope? Maybe I should get a salad today. Like, you know, like, they definitely have something going on that we should probably have going on.
What, hibernation? Because I completely agree with that. I know Josh does too.
Yeah, I was going to say, when did you become Josh?
All right, all right. Let's move somewhat into the emotion thing, since I know Josh was also interested in that. Let's define an emotion, a personal definition. Like, which one do you think we should start with? Just any possible type thing. What do you think?
Well, since Shaune was mad earlier and he stayed mad, what is it to be? What is it to be angry?
I don't know, but I'm starting to feel it right now.
What are you feeling, Shaune? Describe it in detail.
Rage. You ever had the feeling that you wanted to choke somebody through a computer?
Right now, all the time.
Every all right now.
All the right nows in my life.
All the right nows everywhere.
Now, folks, so brother, check it out.
Oh, yeah. I think you just
right now, this right now, and the continuing right nows through the screen, choking a halfie in California. That's all the right nows. Every of the right nows.
If I were to, like, I would say, like, being mad and anger is, like, usually, like, I don't know, it's like the pure essence of wanting to destroy something.
What do you think causes it internally?
Besides Josh?
You know what, actually, we can end it there because it is Josh. Josh is the cause. Josh is the root of all anger.
It's all an instinctive response, right, to an extent? Right, to get you to do something, to get you to react in a certain way?
I've always felt it's more of an offense. Like, it's a matter of being offended by something. Not necessarily like someone insulted you and you're offended, but offended even by the existence of something. There's something is offending you, and that causes anger.
Defense.
It's a defense response. Yeah. Like, it's a thing that, like, I think I almost want to say it's something built up to, like, where, you know, there was, like, some tiger who did, like, cut your leg or something, and that pisses you off so much that you want to fight back.
Beat it with a rock.
Or something. I mean, like, it's just an angry response to do something that may not be the most rational thing at the time, but, like, you know, it pumps you up enough to react.
Based on that, what do you think of the emotions are the most corely instinctual? Like the most happen without consideration type things? Because I think anger is one of those things. Yeah. I think anger tends to be something that you didn't expect to feel necessarily. It doesn't necessarily build as much as people tend to think. Like, oh, I was annoyed, then I was angry. If you're annoyed, you're angry. Like, you are.
It builds. Like, I mean, it builds. It may not build, like, you know, it's probably more because you're holding it in that it builds to where you can't hold it in. Do you think it's holding in,
or do you think it's whatever it was that was the offense, maybe? Like, you think it's just at the base level you don't understand what about it has instinctually made you angry yet, so now you're just irritated. But as you consider it and are exposed to it more, you realize what the actual offending agent is, and that's when you start getting angry? Do you think that's how it tends to be?
Shaune, you want to go first, or?
No, go ahead. You sound like you had something to say.
Yeah. I think anger is a choice, actually. Anger is not something that's wholly instinctual.
All right, Yoda.
But it really depends, I think, upon how you condition your own self to react to situations. And if you condition yourself, I guess, in a different manner than just to react, you actually find that you won't get angry at nearly anything unless it's like almost life-threatening.
But does that mean that you're conditioning yourself to not become irritated by things, or are you conditioning yourself to not become angry at things? Like do you still
honestly,
feel like, oh, that's annoying? That's like, do you have things where you think like normally I'd get angry at that, but you know you're still getting annoyed by it? Otherwise, you wouldn't have thought about the fact that it normally would make you angry.
I say
Again,
probably irritated or annoyed. We condition ourselves not to become that because that's like the root of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, but you do though. Like I don't think like there's going to be something that someone does that like is going to annoy you, and I don't think it's easy to just go like, oh well, I can get over this at every single thing.
It's not easy. You can't do it for every single thing. That's why I said like something life-threatening or someone harms like a member of your family or something. But
does it even have to be your family? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you see something fucked up, like if I fucking drone strike a country, right? People get pissed about that shit, right? Even people that are supposedly Zen, like it's a thing that like like loss of life for even people that we may not even know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. How foreign is whatever the agent is to you?
Right. Well, yeah. How personal it is actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How personal is it? Like a drone strike. I've seen a drone in real life, and it's different for someone who hasn't even seen that thing aside from images on TV. So yeah, like that's something that could be a little more personal to me, I guess. But then again, I'm not on the receiving end of what the drones do, so it's even more personal to them. Yeah, but I know exactly what you mean, though. Yeah, I think it's still possible to not be annoyed by it, despite the fact you disagree with it. But it's not easy to get to that state, though. It really is not. It is something that requires a lot of self-control, and you have to really understand yourself in order to do such a thing.
I can agree with you on the point that I think anger is something that we do inherently at least have the ability to take control of and, stop or whatever. I just can't agree on the base level, though. I don't think that we have that much control over our emotion to be able to stop the feathery small bits of it, like in terms of anger. Being irritated and being annoyed, that's still anger. It's just a very basic, almost gentle level of it. I don't think we can stop that. It's too fundamental.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we can stop the emotions so much as we can control
the
our
escalation
reactions
of it. Yeah.
Well, not even the escalation, just the reactions of that. Like, I can get mad at somebody like knocking me over and spilling a drink. Yeah, you bastard. Spilling a drink on me, but that doesn't automatically have to end up being like I have to punch this dude in the face like 95% of the dude bros.
But it's also because I think people get to a point where they're able to think before they act, basically.
Right.
Like you can consider the situation. You can determine if it's worth being angry about, which is why I agree that you can control anger. But you can, like, when I knocked the drink over at Sean's apartment, which I didn't spill it on him, so it's a different situation than what he initially said. But, like, when I knocked that over...
It wasn't about you.
Well, I know, but I waved and you said, yeah, you motherfucker, because I thought you were referencing it. But, like, in that situation, as far as I know, he didn't get angry at me, but he was sure as fuck irritated with me. And he should have been. Like, that was I would have been irritated too, but I wouldn't have been angry at him if it happened. But that's because it's something that I would have realized, like, oh, he didn't do that shit on purpose. Like, I can't be angry at him because of an accident, but I can be annoyed with him because of it.
I think you did do that on purpose.
No, motherfucker. I had a
was-
backpack on. I didn't know how far back it went. I spun. Why'd you have a drink there? Actually, it was my drink.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I was leaving. I haven't been awake long.
Exactly. Right when you were leaving, leave me with one last piece of shit that I have to take care of.
Yo, he's so mad.
What? Explain this anger, Shaune. We need to understand it.
I normally don't get. I honestly, I don't get mad. I like pretending like I'm mad because it's cathartic.
Well, I think, Shaune, I think you're fairly similar to me, and I could be completely wrong with this, but I feel that, at least in regards to myself, is that I have a fairly, I want to say it's a powerful apathy, but I don't think it's that it's almost like what Josh said earlier. I still feel all of the normal shit. I just think I've detached myself away, like sort of numb myself to a lot of it. So a lot of stuff that I think most people I know would get angry about, I barely get irritated about. And it's not because I think that they're wrong for reacting how they do. It's just I've gotten to such a point in life where I don't care enough about anything to get to that point. And I've always sort of got that feeling from you, is that you're sort of detached yourself from the effort of caring about things sometimes.
Yeah, I'm pretty apathetic, but
I don't give a fuck.
I'm angry. I am
I'm
outraged. This is unacceptable.
I mean, I do feel like attaching my fist to your face right now, but no, like
Hope you get drone striked.
I'm about to eat this nigga like a Nesquik Crunch.
And
If you don't like it, you can eat a punch.
Simmer down, Diddy.
But yeah, I'm like that. I mean, like I usually let myself get mad at dumb stuff before I let myself get mad at big stuff. Because big stuff is where you fucking go crazy and want to punch people.
Do you think it's because with big stuff you intentionally have sort of detached yourself from it? Because you know little stuff doesn't fucking matter. So it's almost like it's okay to let yourself get angry at little shit because you know it's just going to go away because it's pointless.
Well, yeah, and when I say little shit, I mean like this idiot said something on a YouTube comment.
IGN message boards.
Yeah, exactly. I literally don't care about it, but I let myself yeah, fucking moron, just because it's like, it's good to get it out, because it's probably more something else that's making me mad more so than this. But I mean,
you stay away from it because fuck dealing with it. Right,
exactly. Exactly. I mean, like, I feel that way about a lot of things. I feel that way about, like, love. I feel that way about, like, I don't know. Like, maybe that's not even so much just us. Maybe that's just being dudes, because I do kind of think we're kind of forced and trained to be that way.
I didn't mean to laugh when you brought up love, but I was just reminded of Rob's little rant about love that we had on the podcast the one time. Remember that shit?
I don't remember.
Oh my god. How he was dead set on love genuinely not existing. You remember that shit? Like, all of us were like, "You're fucking retarded." Like, shut up, Rob. Jesus. Oh, that guy.
He likes to fuck a lot.
Yeah. Well, so does Josh. I think Josh, do you believe in love?
No, I've never been in love.
No, I didn't say have you been in love. I said, do you believe it exists?
Well, I believe it exists.
All right, so you're better than Rob.
Yeah, you don't listen to the beating of your heart. You don't
love the sound of wind through the trees.
No, man. No, that's not love.
Sound of a
man.
lizard skittering over the rocks in the desert.
That's not love, man.
Love. That's love.
That's not love, man. That's his new music.
As Earth's band.
That the world is going.
Music is love, man.
He listens to actual earth, wind, and fire.
Oh, shit.
But okay, if we want to get on the subject of love, I believe it exists. It's just something I personally have not come to clearly define. What I've done is I've written down what it wasn't. And that's like the furthest I've got.
What are some things that love or is not? Just a few things. You don't have to ramble on about it or anything.
Yeah, I'll just say a few things. It's not deception. It's not power. It's not how to put it. I had a ton of them. I had a whole list I wrote down.
Motherfucker got poetry books full of shit.
You know what?
That is not
Honestly,
love. Baby, don't hurt me.
I kind of I slightly disagree. And not because like I think that love being power and deception and all those things is a good thing. I just think that when you love somebody, they have power over you. I think that's just kind of.
I don't think that's necessarily the case.
I don't know, man. Because I mean, like when you hear people talk about love, like it's like, oh, I did some shit that I would never do for anybody else, but because of this person, I do it. I have to do it.
Well,
love
that's
like. I look at love as like the color black. It is literally everything in one thing.
Yes, I agree. I kind of agree with that.
Because when you love someone, you will let them be and do all of that other shit, and you will feel all of those other things for them at times, but still stay. Like, still be involved with them. Like, you will be able to, like, because I've always thought that you can't genuinely hate something if you can't, in the same token, genuinely love it. You don't necessarily have to love it, but if you're capable of loving it, then you're capable of hating it.
What's weird though is like I feel like
I came to the same conclusion, by the way. Shut up.
More so than me, I feel like Josh probably had more attempts at having someone like as far as like a relationship type of love.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. I've never actually been in one.
Oh, you've never been in a relationship?
But he's younger than us too.
How old are you, Josh?
24.
He's not that much fucking younger. I'm only 26. We're not all 48 like you, Shaune. Jesus. How old are you, Josh? 28 or 29?
29.
Okay. You're not
But
that
no, I mean, that may be a point. Yeah, I'm younger than you. That's true. So yeah, you got 5 years on me there.
You
oh
old
no,
bitch.
no, like I mean,
that was the underlying tag there. You old bitch.
I guess I figured that you would probably have been in more relationships.
No, I have not been in one, but I was gonna make a point. I was gonna say something though to that. One thing that I think is necessary in order for love to even happen is vulnerability.
Yeah.
You'd have to make yourself vulnerable to whoever
to everything.
To whoever you're gonna love. Like, even a family member, a family member, good friends, or even a romantic relationship. It requires vulnerability, and to what extent are you gonna be vulnerable?
Yeah.
And I think the romantic relationship is where you're pretty much completely vulnerable at that point.
Yeah.
So, is love really just trust, more or less? Is it like an open trust?
In an extent, I think love is an iffy thing because I think it's not that there are too many definitions of it. I think there are too many things that are varying levels of it that everyone still refers to as love, even though it isn't necessarily that. Because love, you could argue, is the like apex of that thing. It's the color black. It is the end of it. But sort of like I mentioned to Shaune the other day that it was to you. I think we were talking about this. How no matter what strength your relationship is with someone, there's always going to be something that you are not willing to tell that person or open up to about that person. There is no 100%. Yeah, there is no 100% in any given relationship because that it's too much. You can't be 100% with someone because you don't even necessarily know 100% about yourself to do that. There's always something that you're going to be embarrassed about or just not be willing to expose.
Well, I was going to say the other point is like, and speaking back to your vulnerable point, is that like that whatever you expose about yourself can be used as a fucking weapon at any point in time by that person, and all it takes is like something going wrong or something bad happening, and if it's like if you happen to fall in love with that type of person, who will use that shit, they probably will, and it'll destroy you. Like,
So does it go back to trust if that's the case?
well, yeah,
It
but
goes
that's
to how strong and quickly the trust shows up.
Yeah.
Because if you think you're in love and you're not, that's what Shaune just said. Like,
Yeah.
what did your love just get you? Just someone destroying you because you trusted them. I think that's why people have so much issue with love, because trust, like you said, it's just how easy it is to be destroyed because of your own trust.
But it's also like going back to that like humanity being a contradiction in the mind. Like it's like you almost can't have it without being able to trust someone that much, but you also don't want to trust someone that much, because if it fails, it's the worst thing ever. If it succeeds, though, it's all a risk. It's all like, what is it worth? But I don't know. I would never know. I don't love anybody.
No, I completely agree with how you put that, though. Like, I think that's why, and that's probably a reason that Josh agrees on the whole thing, that you can't hate something unless you're fully able to like love it as well, even if you never did love it. But you have to have that capability there, and it's because like something like if your love is betrayed, literally that is the worst thing. Nothing will ever emotionally hurt you more than your love being betrayed. That's why the most powerful opposition to love is hate, and that's why you can only feel that based off of love.
I don't think hate is the opposite of love.
I don't mean opposite as in literally opposite.
No,
I mean it's like the defined opposite, like how the human race looks at the words.
What would be the opposite?
But it's more like two sides of a coin. It's the same shit.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
I believe the opposite to be apathy.
Yeah, that's completely it.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Not caring about something that's why, holy shit, if you think, like when you're younger, that's why shit fucks you up in high school so much. If you really start falling for someone, then you find out that they don't feel anything for you, that hurts. It's because it's the apathy. It's, wow, they don't care. That hurts. And when you're back then, you think you're feeling love, even though you're probably not. But maybe you are.
I feel that now.
A bit. I was in love with Hot Pockets.
I was about to say, like, I'm just wondering. That's how I feel after I like finish a cookie. I was like, I loved you, cookie, but you left me. How could you do this to me? I'm so hurt.
Oh, Papa John's. Why would you? Why do you bring this to love and loss without? But yeah, I mean.
No, continue. I want to hear more about that cookie.
It was a very delicious cookie. I left one slice for myself. I mean, like, yeah, I want to say like apathy is the opposite, but I almost feel like apathy is the overwhelming thing about this society. Like, maybe not society, but like when it comes to relationships in general, I feel like apathy is the thing that is there the most, because I don't think anybody really gives a shit about anybody else.
I agree.
You don't think so?
Well,
I mean, I don't mean like everybody. Like, I give a shit about you guys.
People give a shit about individual things. That's why everyone says that, like, when they do that bullshit that our generation doesn't care about shit or whatever. It's not that our generation doesn't care about shit. It's just we care about specific shit.
We don't care about the overarching shit that they cared about.
Man.
Tell me. I do have a question. We're talking in the context of society. Now, how do you think a person of our generation, or any generation really, would react without the society?
They fucking die because we, like, wait, now,
you mean like anarchy, or?
Huh?
As if there was never?
As if someone who wasn't exactly exposed to the society. Do you think they'd still be apathetic? Do you think they'd still be apathetic to every person they came across?
It depends.
I don't know if you can.
What is the culture of that societyless person? What is their personal culture?
That's the thing. What develops of the person if they do not have the influence of a society around them?
Personal decision. Why do you hear stories about, like, there was fucking lions in the goddamn Africa or whatever that saved some little girl from some, like, dudes that were, like, trying to fucking kidnap her and then protected her until people showed up? Like, that's not something that they would normally do. That's not lion culture, but it just happened. That was just a decision.
Lion culture.
Like, but you see what I mean, though? Like, it doesn't have to be part of necessarily a culture. It's just that's the instinctual reaction that happened. Emotion is pretty much instinctual, even for us. That's our most animalistic thing you could argue, is our emotion.
So do we think apathy towards others is instinctual, or do you think that happens over time?
I don't know if it's instinctual.
It depends.
I guess, like, when I say, like, apathy towards others, I think, like, I don't know, man. I don't think a lot of people have, like, a lot of empathy for other people's feelings about things and the way things affect them. Like, I don't know. It's
disagree, but I fully agree with you, actually.
What?
I was about to disagree, and then, because I was going to make a point similar to that, but not, and then I realized that, like, yeah, like, because my thing was that I think that a lot of people the majority of people have a lot of sympathy, but no empathy is the problem. Right. So they feel bad for people without knowing why they're feeling bad for them. They just think they have to.
Like this, right? Here's an example. This is why I don't like Tumblr, right? and
oh God, why you gotta mention that horrific?
But like my point is, like, I think a lot of people, and this may not be a fair assessment to make. It's probably even incorrect to be. I'm willing to even go that far, but I feel like sometimes on Tumblr it's more about using issues as a soapbox than it is about actually doing something to help those people affected by those issues.
Well, it's like anywhere. Caring. It's the same as any social forum. There's always the two sides. There are the people that treat it just like they want the attention of acting like they care, and then there are people that care, and they're just constantly arguing over who actually cares.
No, the people that care are out doing things.
But like, you can be out doing things and still bringing attention to the thing elsewhere.
I guess to an extent, but like it like this is becoming like is Tumblr human? No, like
Tumblr is a black hole of wannabe social justice advocates. I'm gonna post the same thing 5 times and just call myself an activist. Fuck out of here.
Right. It's like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you care about a certain issue, to me it almost feels like you would have to care about like a lot of issues. Like a lot of things would have to. If you care about injustice in one thing, you'd probably have to care about all injustices to an extent.
I don't think you do.
See, that's weird to me though, because that seems like, well, this is more important.
My issue is that there's levels of caring. You can care about something, you can really care about something, you can really fucking care about something. Like,
or
it can go like that.
Or you can
not give a
dismiss
shit.
it.
Yeah, or you can not give a shit.
There's definitely a lot more of dismissing shit than saying like, oh, yeah, you know what, I guess I should probably.
But that's what I said before. Like when the generation says we're a generation that doesn't care, it's not that we don't care. It's that we don't care about the same shit. We've started to be more vocal with our individualizations of what we care about. Like I've always been very open about the fact that like I know the exact moment when I found out about 9/11, but I didn't feel anything. Like I felt empathy towards the people involved with it, but I couldn't feel those emotions because it didn't directly affect me. So I didn't know people there. Like I wasn't there, like all that shit. So I can understand it. Like I can feel the empathy and I can even feel the sympathy, but I can't feel the emotion they're feeling.
Right.
I can just recognize it through empathy. That's the best I can do. But you're not, like, as much as I know it's a shitty, like, horrible, like, shit thing, you're not going to see me going to fucking candlelight vigils and shit about it because it didn't directly affect me. I can't care.
Right.
Yeah, and but this is another interesting thing to it, too. How much does media influence what you care about?
Yeah.
Because, okay, you just mentioned 9/11, for example. What about we'll talk about the 1 million people that have been, innocent people who have been killed after in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So,
I feel exactly the same about that as 9/11.
Yeah, 1 million lives lost. Next to 2,000, they're both tragic. but I honestly think it's almost nowhere equatable because now you have a whole country destroyed versus one building.
Exactly.
Well,
but you got also have to understand that is a direct cause of the emotions associated with 9/11.
Was that? That's what I'm saying about media, because the anger was now directed at the people who had nothing to do with it at all.
That's a good point.
Like the media influenced it to hate on a group of people and make them into this fictitious other, and just allow that massacre to happen without anyone caring about it. Like, and we'll make that justification. Oh, they had it coming. You know what I mean?
Well, that's been going on forever.
No.
But like, I know what you're saying though. But like, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying like that has been going on forever. But I don't think we've seen it so clearly in recent history, where like before it was like, oh, we're kind of scared of them Muslims, but we don't really care. Holy shit, they hit our building, we need to kill them all, right? So, like, that emotion, like, I think that kind of goes back, that brings up the ultimate emotion, I think, which is fear.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the, Dune quote.
Well, that's it. But, fear, I think fear leads to a lot of, especially the more negative emotions.
Fear leads to revenge.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hatred. Hatred leads to you know what? Fuck that. Fuck you, because that just makes me think of the Xander from Buffy. It's like fear leads to anger. Anger leads to fear leads to the dark side. No. Fear leads to something. But anyway, that's aside from that. But
I appreciate the reference. Even Josh is sitting there all stone-faced.
I don't even know what the hell you guys talking about.
Fucking mean-mugging motherfucker sitting there just staring at you like, what's this motherfucker talking about? It's Buffy shit.
Yeah,
Buffy.
But
y'all talking about Buffy.
Well, we were.
Yeah, no. Josh is right.
I ain't seen it though. I haven't seen it.
No, you're right, Josh. We should be talking about Angel, which is clearly the better fucking show. But
valid.
But like fear, I think fear is like the main reason of why we're in so much shit that we're in right now, right? Like this is the reason why people are complaining about the NSA. This is the reason why, like people are, whatever. Did you guys freeze?
No, you know what? You actually made me think of a very interesting point to make off of that. When you hear, like, when 9/11 happened and you started hearing about all the, just random, like, Muslim people or remotely Muslim-looking people getting, just attacked in our streets in the United States and shit like that.
Right.
Like, I wonder if that was from those people fearing them as being a source of potential danger, or were these people attacking them scared that they would be seen as against, like, unpatriotic if they didn't do that? Were they scared of our country and why they were doing it?
It could be both.
That actually does go out into both, because when you're setting up a campaign of hate, really, you have to denounce anyone who would not participate in it as quote-unquote unpatriotic. This is where nationalism becomes dangerous.
You have to set it up as us versus them.
Exactly.
And if you're not us, you're them.
Exactly. So yeah, that it can be both at the same time, and it's messed up. So this is why I think some emotions are more or less manufactured in society versus in nature where they're more or less genuine.
I think the root cause of it can be manufactured, but the emotion is still very real.
True. Okay,
the emotion's real, but the cause is manufactured. Yeah, you're right.
That's true. But yeah, I think when it comes to fear too, it was really interesting because this guy, I don't know if you guys know about the Zapatistas.
Fucking Egyptian god was that? Jesus.
That was Mexican.
Whatever.
It was an indigenous uprising against the Mexican state.
Was this recent or something?
Oh, okay. I was like, man, I don't think
it happened in 1994 when NASA came into about. But I just want to say though, when this guy showed up there to help them out, his name was Subcomandante Marcos. He which just means sub-commander Marcos. When he came there, he came from what he called the city life, and he said it was like being in an alien planet because he said, think about it, he didn't know the language because they spoke in their indigenous tongue. He didn't know he didn't know their moral, their principles, their framework of society. He didn't know the land, anything at all. It was all foreign. He had said how death even became something that we fear in society, like no tomorrow, like death is so foreign to us for some odd reason, and yet there he said it was very visible and real. So what happens is that he said the fear doesn't necessarily leave of death, but you become comfortable with it. Like death becomes like an unwelcome guest in your house that comes every night to eat with you. And what happens is like in within the city walls, you never get that feeling. It's not everywhere around you. You can hide yourself from it. But like when you're out there, it is around you. It's very real, very visible every single day. So exposure doesn't even take away fear. All it does is make you. It turns fear into kind of bravery, I guess you could say, or it turns fear into courage.
Yeah, it's the same thing as stated earlier about physical pain. Like, it doesn't go away, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's familiarity with it, and once you get familiar with it, like, it's not as frightening as anymore. It's something that you can at least look in the face without running or fighting.
By the way, Zapatistas are awesome. Just gotta say that.
I was gonna say, man, I don't remember hearing about that nigga in Thor. I was gonna say I didn't see Thor 2. I don't know if he was. Was that Idris Elba's character? I'm not sure.
Question based off of what we were talking about before the nerdgasm just happened. I've always felt that the worst, like, everyone has said that, like, if someone were to tell me that they felt content with their life, like they were content with how they were, I've always thought that was an incredibly negative thing that people perceive as a positive thing. So I think
negative.
Yes, because I think if you're saying you're content with something, that means you don't care anymore. You don't care about making it better. So how can that genuinely mean anything to you if you're just content with where it's at?
Yeah,
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's dumb. No, I'm kidding.
I've always felt that. I don't like the word content. I think it's just a negative word.
No.
I almost feel like that's an American thing, and I hate to say that.
I think that comes from consumer culture. Because one thing about consumer culture is that you always have to consume, and you for some reason always have to make everything better, and you're always left with this empty hole within you that tells you, oh, none of the stuff you have is good enough. Those who are content, I want to say, are more or less in harmony with what they have, and they understand that there's not much they really need. So to them, they kind of went past consumer culture, in my opinion. And even if they were never involved with it, but consumer culture has manufactured this like perpetual emptiness within us that makes us desire more and more and more, even if we have enough. So I like personally, when those people say they're content with something, I admire them, because at that point they're at an understanding of peace within themselves that many of us are not at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're confusing being content with like giving up or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you're not, like, the idea that you're not really at a place where you're happy, but you're just going to say, like, I am content because I can't go any higher, as opposed to a person who's actually saying they're content because I have everything I need.
That was the reason why I said this is an episode about defining the emotion. That is my definition of being content.
Gotcha.
And it's not that I don't want to make it any better, or like it can't get any better, so whatever, I'll just stay here. It's that I feel that if you're saying you're content about it, stop looking at the cat. If you feel content with something, it's that you don't care about making it better anymore because you're okay with it being just as good as it is. And that's not to say that it needs to get better or that you necessarily want it to get better. It's not the wanting it, it's the not caring if it gets better that bothers me. That's what content means in negativity to me. It means you've lost caring about it.
That's weird to me because I think I don't know. Like if I were to put that in terms of an actual person, and then like let's say like my wife were to stop exercising or something like that, because whatever, and then for me to go,
and your trophy wife.
Yeah, me and my imaginary wife, because I'm never gonna get married because no one loves me. If she were to like just stop exercising and she's content, but I'm like, hey, I'm gonna need you to work out some more, bitch, because you're still kind of fat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's to me that's a negative thing. But if like I'm happy with this person the way they are, it's not gonna matter if they.
The only issue that I have with that is that is a tangible contentment towards something else. I'm talking about an internal thing. I'm talking about how you perceive yourself. Like I completely just brought this forward incorrectly, so this isn't your fault that I'm saying you're like getting this wrong. So I literally meant to say it in terms of contentment with like yourself as a person, not your. I didn't literally mean your situation in life, like the shit you have around you.
Well, that becomes a terrible slippery slope because it's this idea of like you can't be happy with yourself as a person. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, at what point can you stop?
How can you not be happy with yourself as a person?
Well, that's what contentment is. Like, I'm happy.
I don't think that is, because there's a difference between being happy with yourself as a person and being content with yourself as a person. I think. Switching to content means that, yeah, someone could put it in the same manner of saying, well, I'm happy with myself as a person, I'm content with myself as a person, but the difference in my mind was if you're saying you're happy with yourself as a person, yeah, like you've got that positive side to it, but that doesn't mean that you're saying to yourself that you couldn't be happier than you are. Content says to me that it doesn't matter if you're ever happier than you are at that moment. Like you just quit. That's how I saw it. What's up?
You bring up something interesting that I keep stressing to people. Content I associate with peace, not happiness.
Fair enough. That's a good point.
Because happiness is honestly, just like sadness, is temporary.
Yeah.
But peace is our default state, I believe. And we move away from it in a flux. Now, those who are content, I believe, are more on a steady line of it. They're never too happy and never too sad. They're just kind of just going. And I always the thing is, people associate peace with happiness. I think that's because of what we've been fed growing up in this culture. Oh, it's the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness is the pursuit to live in a bubble, essentially. Because when you pursue only happiness, you are avoiding a whole other side of humanity, the suffering of humanity. Now, if you are at peace, you are able to witness the suffering of humanity and not be too sad about it. You are able to see the joys of humanity without being too happy about it. You don't vary in this crazy flux of emotion. When you are content, when you are at peace, you are more or less just steady and just going. It's a very smooth.
So it almost sounds like the less you care about shit, the more content you are.
I don't want to say that.
It's sort of what it sounds like. Because the way you're putting, it's the less you care about things. I mean, in terms of the strength of caring, not the ability to care.
It almost feels like he's saying like you got to be at a balance of.
You need a balance
of these things. Like you can't let one thing overtake the other.
Yeah, because if you do, then you're gonna just act on the emotions associated with that. Let fear overtake you and see what happens to the emotions you feel. Let let joy overtake you and see what happens to the emotions you feel, what you fight for. You will become lazy with too much joy. You will become
But
hateful
you know
with
though,
too
like
much
it
joy.
seems to me though that if you're putting at that level of the closer line, that I mean you could argue that the contentment comes after you're so used to having those big jumps that you just slowly calm down. But what happens to that? You're gonna forget it. Like you have to have that too. Like
No,
I can understand having that, but you need those.
no, it's not like you're never gonna have those. It's just like I think with peace, it's like more or less.
But if you're saying peace is contentment and it's something, whereas happiness and sadness is like the ephemeral shit that can end, if you're saying contentment isn't that and it's something that's supposed to last, then you can't go back to those again or it just ended. It's just as fragile as everything else.
Contentment, just like everything else in this world, is a fleeting moment. So it's something you have to maintain. Just like if you want to maintain happiness, you have to maintain being content.
Okay, so I misunderstood how you presented it. It sounded like you were
Yeah.
presenting it as something that lasted more than
Not
was short.
necessarily, but like it is something you have to maintain because what happens. You're content, and then all of a sudden, someone drives by you with a Bugatti. Like, are you able to remain content or?
Yeah, I wouldn't give a shit. Why the
Or
fucker spend that much money on a shitty car?
I know. Actually, I wouldn't feel. I'd feel like I want that
I'd
car.
be more
so I
bothered if I saw someone in like a Beetle because I'm like, man, I want a Beetle. Like,
Well, I would just
don't want a
want it.
Bugatti, but I want a Beetle.
I would just want it so I could sell it and then buy more guitar shit. No, I guess the thing that threw me off about like Sherlock's definition is that it has a negative connotation to it, right? Is that
It
correct?
has a negative connotation to me in a very similar way, actually, to that happiness or sadness would have a negative connotation to me. Is that it's something that people almost they want to replace everything else with in a way. Like they're just okay with it. It's like those people that only want to be happy. Why? You have to be sad sometimes or you can't appreciate it. Like you can't appreciate being happy if you're never fucking sad to compare it to. Contentment is so middle of the road that
Yeah.
it's like but you're just barely experiencing the shit around you now because there's
Do you
there's
think
nothing
so?
else there. That's
But
how I
like
see
how
it.
like I guess that's like because like
It's lazy living.
it's
Nice.
neutral, which is the problem.
Yeah, maybe that's my
It's
issue with it,
it's
just
a
the neutrality
neutral-
of it.
It's a neutral feeling, but
think
to
in the-
me, it feels positive because everything's terrible.
I think in the framework that we've put it into, we've made it out to be neutral. I don't think it's neutral at all.
Well, like to you, it
Well,
almost
no,
seems like
because
to you it's
people
just a
haven't.
state of being
It
in general.
hasn't been shown as neutral. It's been
Yeah.
shown as positive. It's never
The-
contentment's never been a neutral thing. It's
Well, the
been
thing
a
is,
positive thing to
The
people.
thing is, even anger can be positive. Even like anger can be positive. Fear
Yeah,
can
Well,
be
anything
positive.
can be positive, or anything can
Yeah,
be
so-
bad. It's what
so,
you do with what you have.
Yeah, so with contentment, for example, contentment doesn't always lead to peace. I associate it with peace more or less, but it doesn't always lead to peace. I think it's contentment just brings you this feeling of harmony, right? And that feeling of harmony is something a lot of people strive for without knowing it. But it is something that people want. And that contentment is really close with that, because the perpetual desire to have more and more and more isn't there. Now, it doesn't mean you can't be happy being content. It doesn't mean you can't be sad being content. But content can exist with those emotions.
Like you're less in the rat race.
Yeah, more or less. Like the only thing you're not gonna have the more content you are, the less anxiety you're probably gonna have.
Right.
Well, it just sounds like overall, the more content you are, the less you care about shit.
The less you care about chasing about stuff you don't really need. So you actually determine what you need and don't need. So it is escaping the
Yeah.
rat race.
Yeah.
Eh.
To me, that sounds pretty fucking positive because everything sucks.
Well,
So-
to you it's positive. Now to someone who's rich and power, they're like, oh shit, my rats are escaping.
Oh yeah, but fuck them.
Well, I mean, like again though, like Shaune and I'm completely with Shaune that I fucking hate all the things. Like, I hate shit. But even then, contentment still comes off as negative to me. Because it's, like, I don't know. Like, I think I just have this... What's up?
Well, I was just going to say, I feel like I almost want to agree with what you're saying, but the reason I can't is because I feel like people try to make me not want to be content. I feel like there's always constantly something pushing and pulling at me to make me not want to be at the way that I want to be, or the way that doesn't make me feel completely fucking terrible about myself, or like completely have to push to be something that I want. Because like I feel like there's always something trying to pull me to like, oh, you should be getting married. You should be looking for a girlfriend. You should be exercising. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. And I feel like contentment is like to the point of where you can do all those things, but it's you making those decisions. It's not like something. It's not something that's constantly forcing you to take action. It's you making those choices because you know what it is, what's good for you, and what works for you.
I would say that I agree with you in that aspect. I think that is a positive part of it, but it's still a moment where you decided I don't care, like about all this shit barraging me,
Sometimes
which is a positive aspect. No. As I said, it's a positive aspect of something that I still think overall is a negative thing. That's bad shit can have positive results. I just think that that might be the only positive thing that I might agree with that comes out of something like contentment.
Actually, you know what? I think
doing things for yourself as opposed to...
I think none of these emotions are good or bad in general. Now that I started to think about it.
All emotions?
All emotions.
Tell me,
No, I'm serious.
Do you guys even think good and bad exist?
No. It does, subjectively or objectively, which is the one where it's individual. Whatever. That one. Good and bad is based on the person. Yeah, subjective. It's what you determine is it. There's no overarching truth to it. That's just moral relativism. I'm a firm believer in that shit.
There's a shit ton of people. It's basically how many people you can get to agree with you that this is bad is usually how everything shakes out in this world.
And how many content people can you find that won't argue against you with it because they don't give a shit, so you can then take control of it? See that? See how I did that? I'm just fucking with you. You don't have to comment on that. I was just fucking around on that one. But no, that's completely what it is. Like, the societal good and bad is just based on how many more people believed one thing over everyone else. Whoever believed it more and fought for it stronger or with the better approach or whatever fucked up approach they used, that is now the law of it all. But fuck that, I don't care.
Fighting for illusions.
Yeah. I mean, it's not quantifiable. It's not tangible. You can't prove it. It is. We decided on that shit as just people. So,
to an extent, though, like I do sometimes want to feel like the idea of relativism is just a way for us to justify doing terrible things to each other. So, like,
but again,
sometimes
you do horrible shit for good reasons.
But again, like, it's the reason why, like nobody, like, there's a lot of people really mad at Obama for apparently personally drone striking people in the Middle East because he hits the button himself. But, God, like, it's one of those things where it's like, how do you justify it?
Well, I know one thing I always bring up to people when they talk about, oh, that's evil. I'm like, they talk about how they're a good person. It's funny because I always bring up the point. They'll complain so much about government or whatever. I'm like, well, you're paying for all this stuff to happen. Doesn't that, like, pretty much tie you into this whole thing since you're the source of income for this horrible thing happening? And nothing happens. No government institution exists without the consent of the public. So not only are you paying for it, you're consenting for it to happen. So how exactly is it in that case that anyone can call themselves a good person and just try to shift the blame to one person they put in power?
Well, and even beyond that, like, this whole thing started because we were too dumb not to recognize our own fears and realize that, like, we take shit too far. Like, we can't, like, we allow our fears to dictate our policy. And it's like, well, if we weren't scared of brown people, then our policies probably wouldn't be as terrible for those brown people.
Yeah.
Oh, you brown people are kind of scary, though. Just be serious
I'm
here.
brown.
I know.
And your dad looks like Sammy Hagar. What's your point? I don't understand.
A very tan Sammy Hagar. All right, you guys want to cut it off now, or do you have some more things you want to talk about, or what's up? What you thinking?
Are there even any more emotions?
There's tons. We only talked about like 3 of them.
What are the other tons?
Well, we didn't talk about sadness. We didn't talk about like.
Ooh, that's a one that
I fucking love sadness.
Yeah, but see, the reason that I didn't bring it up is because stuff like sadness and depression, because of like at least Josh, like I know you and I are like really like keen on that subject. We could stretch probably a couple hours on just that. That's why I didn't bring it up. That's why I started with anger and shit like that, because I knew that'd be quicker. I almost feel that should be its own thing.
Why would you do that? Because I want to talk about that now. Like,
if you guys really want to, I don't care. I ain't got shit to do.
if you're tired, man, what about you?
Tired.
What about you, Morales?
I just gotta. I mean, we could talk about. I was gonna order a pizza real quick. That's about it.
Well, here, how about you want me to just so it gets cut up into different things? You want me to just end this and we'll start a new one?
Yeah,
so
that
it just
works.
shows up as 2 videos or whatever.
That works. Start
All right,
back at like 11.
Yeah, so no one's watching this, but hey, if you're watching this, we'll be back in a little while talking about
After these
depression
messages.
and such. Yeah.
We'll
So-
be right back.
But if not, otherwise, then thanks for listening or watching or whatever, and see you guys next time.
Lates.